You're talking about Kuyani.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. You're speaking directly with me. You got the right number.
All right. I just wanted to know when is the next question and answer class or seminar or group meeting.
The next event we have is, well, the webinar, it's every Monday. I've been doing that since 2016, and you missed yesterday. So yesterday we do it every Monday. The open Q&A, that is monthly, and I'm in the process of potentially doing a stream that I'll do every 7 days. So I'm actually putting that together. So it looks like it'll probably be this Saturday at, I haven't got the time or anything, but I want to start a White News Network. So people will be able to put their questions in. They'll be able to ask questions. I'll show them information and as well inform them about changing their race and ethnicity and coming on the webinar. And that's potentially this Saturday coming up.
All right. Do you have to have a link or is it
All
something
that
that?
information will be sent. It'll be a stream, so it shouldn't be something that you have to worry about logging into. All that is being done actually as we speak.
Okay.
So the webinar though is every Monday for changing your race and ethnicity. The open Q&A is once a month. Once I get this nailed down for the streaming, then the monthly open Q&A may be retired
Okay. Okay.
because I would be doing the White News Network every Saturday. So that would be more frequency. So what's your question you have for me?
I would like to know what do I need to attend? What would be appropriate for me to attend if I want to know just what's going on? If it's something that I really want to do, what would be the best? Would it be best to wait and attend the webinar, or would it the Q and A, or
Okay, because you can ask me right now. So so you ain't gotta wait. Now, have you seen any of my videos? That's the question.
I've seen some of the videos. I have some questions.
Great.
I do. I do.
So
I do.
so go right
I
ahead.
really.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I really want to. Um, I like to sit in a group and I like to observe and I like to listen more so than just ask a whole bunch of questions. Um, I like to get other people's views, perception, um, and that's how I gather my information. So if you don't mind, and I would like to know the time of the Q and A. If it's going to be this Saturday, I would like to tune in and just sit back and listen and gather
Well,
information.
well,
Way.
I'm gonna help you out here. This path about freedom is not for the weak of heart. It is not for people who want to sit, straddle, observe. They have done a job on African Americans, visible minorities, people of color, black people, etc. And sitting back and gathering information, anybody could do that. I asked a specific question because you watch my videos. So for you to call me, something I must have said on one of the videos must have been of interest to you. So
Well,
if
I always
yes,
have been a, if you don't mind me.
pardon?
Um, I said I've always been of interest. That's how um, Tiani and I met. Is um, I guess it was a type of spiritual link. Um, and I've done my own research. Now, that is how I make my decisions. I think I should be given the opportunity to at least, and I told Gianni that I would do this and see what it's about. And I think that I should be given that opportunity. And
Oh,
then if
certainly.
I feel it's not for me, um, no, I don't think it's for the weak at heart. And it's not for um, the close-minded. It's for someone that's ready to walk the spiritual journey. This is more than just an intellectual journey. This is a spiritual journey, and it's taking what you thought you were and opening your mind to who you really are. And everybody is not ready for that. I'm very open-minded, but I want to know if this is the right thing for me, and the only way to know that is to experience it. So either you're going to give me the opportunity, or either you're not, and that's what I call to be able to get the link or however you guys meet for the Q&A, and get my perception of what I think this is, and is this something that I want to dwell in? I know that it's more of it's not just some group. It's not a fad. It's not just an experience, but it's you have to be ready for it. But and the only way I'm going to know that is by experiencing it and seeing is this right for me. And I should be given that opportunity.
Do you know what it is?
I do know what it is. I do know what it is.
And what is it? See, I'd like to know where people are coming from when they call me. If they watch my videos, then they should have an idea of what it is I'm talking about. So when I asked that question, you said you've watched my videos. Now I need to know, well, which one, what stuck out? What is it that I said that stuck out to you that gave you the catalyst to call me?
I'll tell you what, I will go a different route. I do know what it is. It's the family. It's the breakdown of who I am as an African American woman. It's taking, re-educating me and allowing me to enter into a family or a society that only belongs to my people. My people.
Who are your people?
Who are my people? Well, sound like you ain't gonna give me the opportunity to find out. I
Pardon?
mean, if this is what we're met with, so much resistance, then I see why. Um, I can tell you, sir, I'm not on your educational level concerning what you do or what you're doing. But I am here and I am curious and I am here to find out. And whether you give it to me or
You,
I seek it somewhere else, I will
well,
do that.
well, you watched one of my videos, so I was already giving it to you in the video. So I needed to know, well, which video did you watch that had an impression on you?
Oh, he sent me so many videos. He sent
Pick
me a
one.
lot of videos, and I watched them over the time. But I had to be sure this is something that I wanted, and I actually told him I didn't really want to speak with you. I just wanted to come into the Q&A to see what it's about.
It's about
But
getting white. It's about
it's about what?
getting white. And white just just to help refresh you, since you said you've seen a lot of my videos, white is defined by the US government and the Office of Management and Budget as a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Now, black or African American is defined by the US government as a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Are you aware of any black racial groups of Africa?
Not many.
Not none. There's none. There is none. And the people from Africa don't call themselves black in their language either. American Indian or Alaskan Native is a person defined by the U.S. government as a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains cultural identification and community attachment. Now, the original people of the Americas are not these people calling themselves Native Americans, Paleface, or $5 Indians. The original peoples of the Americas, as you might know, is the Olmecs. The Olmecs, which are those statues that they have found in Mexico, those Olmecs are from Uganda. And so prior to the Atlantic Ocean coming into existence, it was one landmass. You're aware of that, correct?
I am.
So that means that what they call North America and Africa and South America were all connected at one point. So the people just simply walked back and forth because there was no canyon, there was no uh, water, there was no ocean, there was no river. So they did that. So the issue is people who are called black or African American have no standing at law, and I give gratitude to Barack Obama for revealing that secret in broad daylight that most of the black intellectual, the black bourgeoisie have not, it didn't register that he told them a secret on the Tom Joyner morning show when he said, I don't consider myself the first black president, Tom, because the word black has no standing at law. There's a court case called Dred Scott of 1857. Are you familiar with the Dred Scott case?
I am familiar.
And in the decision, are you familiar with the decision from Justice Taney?
No.
You probably have heard this statement that the no descendant of Africans has any rights which a white man is bound to respect. Have you heard that statement before?
I have.
So that Supreme Court decision of 1857, Dred Scott decision, is still on the books. So all the problems that African Americans are having is because there is a legal maxim that they are considered outside of the system. They are considered civiliter mortuus, dead in the eyes of the law. They are considered outside of the system because the Constitution is for white people. And in Article 1 of the Constitution for the United States of America, they are referred to as 3/5 of other persons. Furthermore, black is an adjective, not a noun. Nouns are persons, places, and things. And African American is a patented meat and processed food on file with the United States Patent and Trade Office, it's USPTO. What these people you may call Caucasians or white, so-called white people, because they're not white, they're actually the black people, they are taking the language and making everything pale because they know they're the ones that are genetically recessive. So this is why when black people run into problems and they get it targeted and racial profiling and all that stuff, that Dred Scott decision is still on the books. And you're in South Carolina, they have the Negro Act of 1740 and the Negro Act of 1840 in South Carolina, and there's only three classes of free persons under that act. That's the Egyptians, Moors, and the Lascars. So if you're not one of those three, as per the 1740 Negro Act of South Carolina, you are considered what they call a Berber, which means you are a perpetual slave. So in section 1 of that act, it talks about even Indians who have not gotten their freedom, they are considered bondage or a slave. And the children will take up the status or the condition, as they say, of the mother. So anyone who's calling themselves African American, Black, Negro, colored, visible minority in this day and age is confessing and articulating and putting out that energy that they have no standing at law and they can be brutalized, they can be attacked, and they are agreeing to the terms and conditions of that contract. So the purpose is to get white because that will give you what? Standing at law. And then you can start utilizing the Constitution if they're going to bring up the Constitution as a remedy for you. But you can't use the Constitution being an African American. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution for the United States of America are considered dead badges of law. It's discretionary. So even if you go in front of a black judge, the black judge knows that you have no standing at law, and it depends on the situation. If it's something where they say, okay, we'll give her a pass, I'll show her some leniency just for this, but she's still black or African American. That's what this is about. Once you do that, then you claim your indigenous heritage, and you can't utilize any statutes or laws to give you an advantage being black, because there's no definition for black in Black's Law Dictionary. Remember, what's her name? Jackson, the one who was trying to be the Supreme Court justice. Well, she's Supreme Court justice now, but remember during her confirmation hearings, she's now Supreme Court justice. I forget her first name, but her last name is Jackson. And they asked her, what's the definition of a woman? Remember? And she said, I can't tell you what the definition of a woman is. You remember hearing that? Are you there? Greetings.
I am.
Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't lose you. So
no, I muted the phone so
okay.
I could hear you.
So you see remember when they asked her what's the definition of a woman, and she said I can't give you a definition. She lied. Not that she can't give me a definition. There is no definition in Black's Law Dictionary for woman. However, there is a definition for women, plural, in Black's Law Dictionary. So for her to say that I can't give you a definition, that's a problem. Then how does she know she's a woman? And then she's going to go off into biology or science. So this is what this is about, getting white, because they have African Americans walking around calling themselves something that they are not, which is them casting a spell on themselves, and gave them the word and said, you call yourself black because we say so, and we'll call ourselves white, and you accept that we're white, when in actuality they're not white. And the reason, to help you along with that, Europe is named after an Ethiopian princess, and Ethiopia, as you know, is in North Africa. So the people calling themselves white, walking around saying that they're white, are in fact committing what's called identity theft. They're not white. They're pale and pink on a hot day. However, since we're doing commerce, and the U.S. has a caste system, you get to pick one because the U.S. Census recognizes race based and collected data based on self-identification. So why would somebody who's African American or black continue to keep calling themselves black when the legal maxim is they're considered outside of the system and they have no rights which a white man is bound to respect? They're not part of the body politic. And the proof of that is all the black men and the senators that were stumping for Trump during Trump's reelection, he never gave them no cabinet posts. So Trump is honoring what? Contracts. And the contract is if you say you're black or African American, you're saying you're a slave slash descendant of a slave. Therefore, you are expendable. That's what is happening. And so this is what the purpose is to get white. We're claiming the word white back. Black people love calling themselves a savage. They love calling themselves, what do they say? A beast. They love calling themselves that. Now we're saying you want your life to get better. Your starting point, you got to start calling yourself white. Not talking about skin color, talking about commercial position in this caste system called the U.S. Corporation, aka United States of America. So Mondays is the webinar. Like I said, I'm going to let people know between today and tomorrow. Once we get everything solidified, I'm just in the middle of getting all of that ironed out in terms of the time for the White News Network. We will allow people to come in. They can put posts, and the posts will show up on screen. They can ask me questions directly. So that's what we're looking. That's what I'm looking at doing. So I'll be doing that and be getting back to you in the meantime. In the meantime, you'll get an email. So if you can, right, you got a pen and paper, I can give you my email address, and then you can send me an email. And then what I'll do is once we get the link and everything set up, I'll send you all the relevant information. I got your phone number here, so I can text you that information as well.
I have a pen and paper.
Okay, so yeah, so it's Tamaray, T-A, T's and Tom, A's and Apple, M is in Mary, A's in Apple, R is in Robert, E is in Edward, 19 at protonmail.com. So just send me an email and I'll let you know. In the meantime, I can send you some information as well as the videos that you were either sent by Kuyani or you've went on my YouTube channel. Have you been on my YouTube channel?
I have not.
Okay, so have you been on my BitChute channel?
Have I been
On
where?
my BitChute channel. It's like YouTube. It's a different video service. Have you been on that my YouTube channel, on my BitChute channel? Because I have videos there as well. No?
I only have the videos that Gianni sends me because I'm not a part of the actual. I haven't started this journey yet,
so you haven't seen any of my videos, is what you're saying?
I have. I have seen what he has sent me. Your group is very private. You're very careful about who enters, who comes, who watches. So you basically have to go through someone to even know about this. I met Kiwani. It was haphazard. I'm hoping now that it's more of fate and destiny, but it's not like it's out there just for us. It's falling in our laps or in our hands. It's not easy to, and I don't think Kiani would have given me your number if he really wasn't assured that I was ready for this. And I know that I am. I'm very open minded, and I know a lot of what you're talking about, but to have it broken down, um, and listening to it from your perspective is very eye opening. And so I'm just basically here to see if this is what I have been wanting and looking for.
What is it that
So,
you want? What is it you're
yeah,
looking for?
one, I know that we are the golden race. Spiritually, intellectually, um, emotionally, everything that came from this earth, God sent it through us. Through us. Now, my goal is to make sure that whatever was reversed in the universe, how did the so-called, I'm gonna stay on your term, the so-called white people got this power. I'm ready to be a part of those that are what would say the resistance. I want that power back. I want the power that they stole from us, they took from us, they robbed from us, they raped from us, that was never theirs. I want it back because I have a right.
So can
That's
you?
what I'm, and
Great,
that's what I
good,
open my, yes.
great. That's fabulous. So can you say I am a white female? This is your test. I gave you the definitions based on the US government. These are not my definitions. The government is saying we are identifying race. You have the right to self identify, and these are the definitions. They're not talking about biological, they're not talking about anthropological or historical definitions. They're saying this is what we say is white, this is what we say is Asian, this is what we say is American Indian, Alaska Native, this is what we say is black, this is what we say is Pacific Islander. And if they're saying, not if, since they're saying that this is the definition of white, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa, and so does the National Institute of Health. They use the same definitions. So does the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. Use the same definition that I just gave you. These are not mine. These are theirs. This is how they define race. Therefore, Europe, named after an Ethiopian princess, they found the bones of Cheddar Man in the United Kingdom, which they call England, and that was 100 years. They just reconstructed that about, I don't know, 5 or 7 years ago. And what did they when they came back, it was a dark-skinned man, dark curly hair, blue eyes. And they said this is what the original, their words, Britain, quote unquote, looked like 10,000 years ago. So niggers have been all over this planet. However, since we're doing a commerce and being forced to play a real life Monopoly game, you have to use the terms of that game and the conditions of that game, the definitions of that game. So you want the power back? Good. You have to say I am white, and any person that you know, you'll get more resistance from black people. The so-called white people, they're gonna look at you, smile, they'll wink at you. They know they aren't the white people. They know this. They know they are the black people because the word black in Old English, the etymology of the word means pale, glisten, shine, pallid, bright, shining. Nothing pale about you as far as I know. I'm just taking an educated guess on this phone call. So you want the power back? Can you say I'm a white female? Because if you can't say that, they still have power over you because it's words. They gave the program the spell and supplanted that, not supplanted it, they presented that to get your brain to calibrate to a lower level. And the whole time they know we were the first on the planet. So whether it was Elohim, Nitu, Anunnaki, makes no difference. The point is, at this stage of the game, worldwide, there is a worldwide definition for race. Black is known in legal circles and in a legal maxim as being considered dead in the eyes of the law. So, you have the right to get white. That is your right. That's why the government knows most of the black people have been pre-programmed. So once they say, hey, pick a race, 9 times out of 10, they're going to check off African American, black, colored, whatever that they have there. And they put themselves right back into bondage with a check mark on a box, on a state or government or federal government form. So that is the great secret. The great secret is to claim white. The people I'm teaching, like Kuyani, they never expected someone to teach you all the truth. This is why you have people on a lot of these podcasts, the New Age groups, even the Christian church. They're not telling the people the truth on how to free themselves. They're following a program, and for the church, specifically in the South, in the Bible Belt, there's a book called How to Make a Negro Christian. And in that book, it says the purposes of making a Negro Christian is that they will advance the pecuniary interests of their masters as a necessary consequence. So that means your TD Jakes, your Creflo Dollars, your Joel Osteens, your Jimmy, what's his name? What's that other dude? Billy Graham's, and all of these guys, they're pushing Christianity, particularly on black people, because what will happen is the black people will advance their oppression. So this is the secret. Get white. Anything else you say doesn't mean nothing if you're going to stay a black woman. Your feelings don't matter. Your education don't matter. Who you are, well, I'm a woman, and I have rights. No, you don't. They're putting this in front of the public, specifically black people, as it pertains to their position. Black people ain't getting it, and of course they're not going to get no help from Rainbow Push Coalition, Jesse Jackson, what's his name, Cornel West, and the rest of these Negroes. Because you have another issue is you have black sororities that are instrumental in maintaining the slave system. Bondage is the more accurate word, but if you say it to a layman, bondage, they don't comprehend bondage. When you say slave, oh yeah, they get definitely worked up over that. So that's the purpose of that, but it's bondage. So the black college, historical black colleges and universities still using the word black. How are they still using the word black in 2025 and not know that they went, there's some black people went to school, went to college, got a master's in English, but you didn't check the etymology and you're calling yourself an African American, which means they're an adjective and they're pale. That's fraud. That's universal fraud. So the universe will punish them for that because they're trying to recalibrate themselves, that their genes and their cells are not their genes and their cells are not programmed to be at that resonance. So that creates a shock or a resistance. It goes out into the universe. The universe says, this person ain't pale. They're getting galactic messages due to the carbon, which they misnomerly call melanin in their skin, and they're calling themselves pale. Universe says, punish them. Not to be malicious, but to wake them up. They're not black. Nothing about them is black. And if we're going to take the difference that black is like a remote control or someone with a cell phone or a flat screen TV, if their skin color don't match that, then that ain't them either. So this is the point. The people who call themselves white are not. They're not. They're from another star constellation. They're not. They are celestials. They don't belong here. They're from another planet, and they know this. That's why you see why they could destroy this planet. If it was really their planet, they wouldn't be doing so much to destroy it. The average person is not going to destroy their own home and still expect to live in it. So you got to get white. And I'm the only one on the planet talking about this. Not Umar Johnson, not Professor Griff. All these people say they want freedom. All these black people say they want freedom. What do I got to do? Get white, claim the word white. Oh, I can't do that. So then you can't be free. Because that's what the government gave you all the out. And when that time comes and black people want to say, oh, the government or the white man, and it'll be said, no, didn't they tell you this? Yes. And you knew this? Yes. What did you do about it? Nothing. Then you agreed to be their property. There's no claim. They have no right to complain, no right for remedy or recourse. They were given the information. They were given the facts. They did not act upon it. Therefore, they have abdicated. As such, now they become subject to universal balance under Ma'at, the Egyptian deitess. So that's the great secret. Claim the word white. That's the starting point. And then I guide you on how to live white, being a white autochthon female. Your auric field will increase. Your credit score definitely will go up. And then your presence will have people, they'll just be off because you're not resonant. You will no longer be resonating on the frequency you're at now. You're going to be at a higher resonance. And that's what it's going to come down to, resonance. Not to say you won't have tough days or rough days. However, the bottom line is recognizing when those days happen and doing what you can to increase your vibratory frequency or your sound cycle and energy cycle, as we say. So, do you have a question about what I just said? Anything that's cleared? Do I need to kind of refine for you?
No, you've been very transparent. Um, yeah.
And don't forget, if you put my appellation into Google, again, I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I have a BitChute video channel. And those videos on those channels have about 200 on one and about 150 on another. So I've been publishing my work since 2007. So I'm not hidden. We're not secretive. What we've been having to deal with is the ability for these tech companies to set algorithms. And then the algorithm will say, okay, if they recognize my work, to suppress it. So from your viewpoint, it looks like, hey, you guys are secretive. It's hard to find you, da 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 da. No, we're out there. I encourage all of our autochthons to publish everything they do. We don't keep it hidden because that's dangerous. We put it out there in the public so the public can see, government officials can see, not only in the United States, but the world over. And then they'll be able to recognize the difference between the people that I guide and the people that take my information and will re-speak it, and people will think that it came from them, not knowing it came from me because they saw some of the documents and copied. That's beautiful because they're just fodder, because they will know based on, thanks to the 5G towers that they put up, they're going to know the resonant frequency or the resonance and the sound cycle and energy cycle that a white autochthon actually vibrates on. They're going to know that. So they're not going to fool anybody by thinking they can copy, throw paper out. No, we're out there. And this is why I encourage publishing, especially now that the computer intelligence is overriding human commands. Oh, these companies are finally getting it. And it's funny, I told this to the UN 2 years ago at the UN Human Rights Council. My video of me speaking to the UN Human Rights Council is on the internet. It's on Google, it's on Facebook, it's on my YouTube channels, it's on other white autochtons. They take it and I told them, yeah, you publish, it's there. So the computer very fast is going to be the next enemy that humanity is going to have to deal with. And we got the remedy for that. I have the remedy for that. And the remedy is the challenge I issued on May 21st, May 24th, 2021, where I challenged all the supercomputers to change the coding for the word black and its association with a dark color. Black is codified as hashtag 6 zeros. White is codified as hashtag 6 Fs. However, because the etymology of the word black means pale, glisten, shine, bright, shining, that is incorrect for it to be connected to a dark color or darkness. That's incorrect because the hashtag zeros means no value. It means off in computer language. Off would be equivalent to dead. White is hashtag 6Fs. F is the sixth letter in the English alphabet. 6 times 6 is 36. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 9 is the highest of numbers. So if your hair is natural and you have no pressing combs or you're not using any straightener or anything like that, and you have it in a natural, your follicle bends at a 9, the ends turn into a 9. What does that mean? That means that the word white is synonymous with us based on the computer coding of hashtag 6Fs. However, it can't be connected to paleness because paleness is considered a genetic mutation. So mutation in the medical dictionary is a change for the worst. So pale skin, you're in South Carolina, temperature has been hot there the last couple of weeks. Oh yeah, all them Amorites can't wait to run into the buildings or into the job where there's what? Air conditioning. So it can what? Cool them off. Because that sun is wicked and is cooking them like lobsters. So since that's the case, that means they can't be from here because they would not have a problem with the sun giving them skin cancer. So that'll prove what? They're not from this planet. Anything that's underneath this planet can stay underneath the sun, not have to worry about skin cancer except Amorites. Why? Because they don't have carbon, which they call melanin, to absorb the UV. So they have no protection from the sun's rays. And the solar flares are bad and they're going to get worse. So you ain't seen nothing yet. We're in the sun cycle right now. That's what the scientists are not talking about. They keep talking about the sun's 11-year cycle, but they're not talking about the fact we're in the sun cycle, meaning that 6,000 years of the moon cycle is over. We are in the sun cycle. So this is the first sun cycle after the last 25,000 year epoch. The time it takes our solar system to go around the universe. Anything else?
No. No.
Oh, wait. So my question still hasn't been answered. So can you say I am a white female?
I can say it, but it sounds better when it resonates with my spirit.
Hey, you're the one that said you wanted the power back. I just gave it to you. You don't want it.
Yeah, I want the power. But the power was never theirs. It was originally ours.
I accept that, but they're calling themselves white and they're not. That's fraud.
They're calling themselves white. So why do I have to call myself white? Because they are.
Do you have a social security number?
I don't define myself as black.
Do you have a social security number?
I do have a social security
You have a
number.
birth certificate?
I was born. I have a birth certificate because I was born, and that's what the government issued us.
So
not my birth certificate and my social security number does not define who I am.
It does if you want a job.
It does because the law says so.
No, the statute.
The law was made by men.
No, that's a statute. That's a statute. That's a statute. There's a difference between a law and a statute. A law cannot be broken. A statute, they can amend it, they can cut deals, they can reduce it, charges, they can throw. That's difference between what they say is the law versus what is a statute. Laws cannot be broken. Period. There's no leniency. There's no cut me a break this time. You jump off a cliff, you're hitting the ground. Now it's all relative whether one survives or can survive the fall. Person doesn't want to eat or they can't eat, there's going to be physical consequences for not eating. There's going to be physical consequences for not drinking. Physical consequences for inability to defecate. There's going to be physical consequences for not sleeping. Those are laws.
So laws can be broken.
No.
So have
laws, statutes, rules, codes, regulations, those can be broken. We see that all the time. Laws cannot be broken. If that was the case, if they believe there's gravity, then why is it people can't fly? They'll say, oh, gravity holds you down. So therefore, you can't take a ball, throw it up in the air, and it goes all the way into the sky. No, because of its density, it will go up a certain height and then hit some air resistance and then come back down. If you're in a building, yes, great.
That the law is there whether you decide to abide by it or not.
Correct. Fabulous. So this is why, like I said, getting white is the key. This is how they got black people in the position that they're in and then polarize them against the word white. They hate everything that's white. Meanwhile, every summer, black people now have been having white parties where everyone dresses up in white, but you hate white people. That's interesting. Wear the exact same color that the oppressor wears, but the oppressor isn't white. They're pale at best, leper, mutant, genetically recessive genes. That's what they are. They even admit that. And then every time they keep finding bones and reconstructing them, what do they see? Niggers. So this means we've been on the planet, which we have been, millions of years. They've only been up here for, at best, probably 6,000, pushing it 12,000 years.
So what does the word nigger mean?
Nigger goes back to the Nagas, serpents, which people from Asia and the Orient are aware of. They were known as the teachers. They are beings that actually still live in, like, the Philippines, Vietnam, underwater. And those beings that the Dogon in Mali were in contact with aliens from another planet called the Nomos. And this is how the Mali Dogon tribe was able to draw star maps of the stars and had no telescopes. And they said, how do you guys know where all these star constellations, Sirius A, B, C, how do you guys know this? You have no telescopes. And they said the beings Nomos taught us. And those beings would come down and in the daytime they'd be in the water, and then they come out at nighttime and teach, man. This is all, documented. This is what is out there. And the Nagas are the serpent. They were known as the serpent kings. So when they say Negus or Negus or Nagas or Negus or Nagas, that's the title of nobility. They're calling you a king. They're saying royalty. But they tell black people, and they say, oh, he said the N word. The N word, it goes back to Kundalini energy. So when they were saying nigger in a lot of the rap music, and then they said, oh, you all need to cut down on that. That's getting too much. It's getting out of hand. What that's actually doing was triggering the Kundalini energy in the body. And then that means y'all could heat the planet up. So they started feeling that, and they said, oh no. Just like when they start hearing nigger, and black people immediately get hyped up when they're listening to their certain rap music, they said, oh, we got to cool this now. These Negroes they're going off with that by saying it. So it's not an insult, it's a title of nobility. That's again part of the matrix, tricking people to say what is good for them and label it as bad, and then label what is bad for them as good. So what's white is actually black, and what is black is actually white. So between that and the computer technology and the recoding, which I've already given it instructions to, I challenged every supercomputer on the planet. I've contacted MIT, I've contacted Nanya, Joy Bulamwene. All of them are staying silent. So it's either they are clones or plugged into the matrix, or they're in such fear that they just want to act like they still have time and not want to deal with it because they already have done the mathematical calculations in their head that it's over, and they don't see a remedy, despite the fact I have this remedy out again since like 2007, and the pale supremacy was around 2021, so about 4 or 5 years ago. So that is the key. That is it's not no secret. It's one of those things that it's on such a vibratory, the sound cycle and energy cycle is so high. The average black person, they're not going to see it. They're not going to get it. They're not going to comprehend it. Yet they're screaming, we want freedom. We need a remedy. We need a solution. What these black people want is they want freedom on the plantation. They do not want freedom off the plantation. Big difference. So, if there's nothing else, I thought there'd be more questions, but I guess not. I then will get back with you. Got your number now, and I'll let you know. Like I said, in the next 24, we'll have everything laid out. But I'm going to start doing streaming now. There's just so much information coming out. It's not possible for me to do a now fact on individual articles. So now I'm going to be doing my own white news network.
Okay.
So I'll stay in touch. You're gonna know because, like I said, this Saturday is when we're looking at. I'm looking at starting this Saturday.
Okay. I will be there.
All white, white power.
White power.